What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. LeBron, obviously, 30 points on 12 shots, 4 for 4 from 3, 8 assists, 0 turnovers. First player in NBA history to put up a 35-5 in less than 23 minutes, which is an absolutely insane stat. I would say that on a per minute basis, that was one of the most dominant games of his career, as he literally snatched the soul of the New Orleans Pelicans for the world to see. For the season now, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 65% true shooting, his highest true shooting percentage since 2014, the second highest of his career. 2.2 stocks per game. That's 30th in the NBA. Not nothing. Lakers are 21.2 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor versus off, according to Cleaning the Glass. His jump shot's been deadly. 1.1 points per jump shot. 1.24 points per catch and shoot jump shot, in particular, where he's been red hot. He's one of only 2 players in the NBA to have attempted at least 7 shots per game in the restricted area, and shoot over 70% on them. It's him and Giannis. 36 players this year have ran at least 200 pick and rolls, including passes. His 1.09 points per possession ranks 7th out of those 36 players, despite some pretty bad off-ball shooting. He's also 2nd in total fourth quarter points scored this year and 5th in total clutch points scored this year. The Lakers have been the 3rd best clutch team in the league by win percentage as well. I say all that to ask this. Does LeBron deserve to be in the MVP conversation?
I would not put him in the upper echelons of this conversation, just because I think that you have to look at, the Lakers are not among the elite regular season teams at this point. I think that they have the potential to get there, especially if they hit on a midseason trade, but this is a team whose effort can wax and wane, and that applies to LeBron as well. I think that when he is dialed in, this is the best LeBron that we have seen since 2020, when he was the best player on the planet, pretty indisputably, and the best player on a title team. Now, I would say that he has no argument for the best player in the world title anymore. He is not that level of player, but when you consider some of the health issues that he's endured, where we haven't seen him maybe this explosively athletic, especially if you look at the playoff run last year, when he was really hampered by the foot injury, when he was struggling with the jumper, when he wasn't able to impose himself offensively as consistently as we're used to from him, there's no question that this is an improved and a wildly impressive LeBron. So to me, it's not so much about him really pushing for that MVP nod. I think that there are guys who just night to night are putting forth such massive efforts and are so responsible for carrying their team singularly to being elite. If it's Nikola Jokic, if it's Joel Embiid, what's so encouraging to me about this is that when he picks his spots, this LeBron looks so unbelievable. It is the most efficient LeBron we have ever seen. You read a lot of those great stats off, Jason. He is shooting his career best percentage on 2s and on 3s now. You have this unbelievable combination of him having a career jump shooting season, and we saw it in this game. It was a shot-making clinic. You have the stretch where he pulls the back-to-back logo 3s, just obscene. You have not long after that, the really tough runner and one, like just incredible skilled shot-making, combined with an ability to attack mismatches and to really pick on the easy stuff so efficiently. And that's another thing that stood out from this game. When you put up numbers like this in 23 minutes on the floor, yes, you have to shoot the ball really well, as he did, but hunting the easy stuff, starting from his first basket of the day, where he just gets that post seal and it's an easy layup. You have a smart cut from him in this game. He's getting out in transition repeatedly. Like, he is doing such a good job of maximizing his advantages without having to put excessive stress on his body. And then situationally, you see it in the efficiency. You mentioned the fourth quarter numbers. He's 8.5 points per game there on 59% shooting. This is an unbelievable version of LeBron, who is just putting forth, to me, by far the most impressive demonstration of longevity, not just in NBA history. I would argue in sports history. If you try to make the cross sports comparisons, Brady plays until he's 45, but that's a position that is so much less dependent on athleticism. LeBron is still a top tier athlete in the NBA today, and we see that every night whenever he wants to show it. That's never happened from a guy who was knocking on the door of 39. When you think about the dudes who could still put up 20 plus at this age, It's Kareem, who had this unbelievable size advantage and then this great skilled shot making. It's Karl Malone, who was this post machine. You've never seen a guy with this sort of explosiveness. There's still probably fewer than a handful of guys who are better all-around athletes than LeBron in the NBA today, and that is so encouraging for the Lakers' ceiling, because we saw in the playoff run last year, they need him to carry a pretty heavy burden if this team wants to be really good offensively. They certainly need him to be better than he was in that run last year when he was hampered. And I think there is every sign right now that he is capable of doing that.
And considering what a large question mark that was coming into the season, Carson, it has to be encouraging for the Lakers ceiling. I think there is one more aspect of why I wouldn't have LeBron in the upper echelon MVP conversation, and that's because he does have Anthony Davis, and I don't want to undersell how imperative Anthony Davis is to this team winning basketball games and what he does on the defensive side of the ball and how great he has been over the last 10 games. You know, LeBron is dominating, and it is remarkable. I've never seen anything like this from an athlete his age, but AD's 24, 14, and 3 on 61% true shooting over the last 10 games. He's been good defensively. And so I think that plays against LeBron's MVP case. But like you said, I think it is why it's really encouraging about this Lakers team moving forward towards playoff time. AD rounding into form, LeBron rounding into form. Guys are shooting better. D'Lo, Taurean Prince, and LeBron all over 40% from deep over the last 10. That's, withstanding a Reeves, bad shooting stretch. And this team is clicking a lot more defensively. I have loved the energy and the effort of these last couple of games. And again, you don't want to give them too much credit because the Lakers, we know they can it's a flip of a coin on what you're going to get that day. But I have liked their energy and effort with Vanderbilt back. It seems like all the pieces are coming together, and the biggest variable in all this was LeBron and AD. I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys, but with this version of LeBron and this version of Anthony Davis, I mean, it does feel like we're on the cusp of a potential playoff run, right?
We'll get there. I want to dive into the Lakers here in just a minute. I will say that I agree with you guys that I don't think LeBron is in the upper echelon of the MVP conversation. Let me put it this way. I think he's good enough right now that if he went for it, he'd have an outside chance of getting it. Because let's just put it simply. You can tell that there have been about a third of the games this year where he's like, I'm going to go after it tonight. And in those games, he's looked like the best player in the world in those games. At least I shouldn't say definitively, but he's been at that level. He has been contributing to winning at a high MVP level during those third of the games where he's carried. And it's very clear this week. He's like, I'm winning these games. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of chill mode going on. And for the record, I think that's smart. I think LeBron going for the MVP this year would be absolutely stupid. Just an incredible waste of resources. One, just from the standpoint of the voters, he's got a very small chance of actually getting it just because of all the fatigue, the Anthony Davis element, anti-Laker bias. I thought LeBron was clearly the MVP in 2020 and he didn't get it. And so at the end of the day, it's just not worth it. But that said, I think in terms of his individual ceiling, this is the best I've seen him look since 2020. He just, the efficiency, the jump shot, the playmaking, and even when it comes to the scoring volume, it mostly has to do with the fact that he's attempting the fewest number of shots in his entire career. Mm-hmm. And because he's on, half to 2/3 of the nights kind of in chill mode, I feel really confident now from that specific spot, the LeBron spot, that in big moments, LeBron can turn it up and hit that top tier superstar level, providing he doesn't get hurt at some point this season. And that simply was not there last year.
No,
he just wasn't that good last year.
No, I mean, there was maybe 2 games in that playoff run where you saw him totally dial in. It was game 6 against the Warriors and it was game 4 against the Nuggets, a closeout spot and a do or die spot where it is just, I am going to make the most of my physical advantages every possession. And I am going to fully exert myself for 48 minutes. And you saw just this unbelievable ability to bruise guys in the post, to attack with such efficiency and transition. But I mean, over the totality of that playoff run, LeBron wasn't a top 10 player in the league. I mean, right? He definitely had a positive defensive impact. It was great to see him dial in there, but offensively, he was overly reliant on the jumper. I mean, he was an average efficiency 25 point per game scorer who wasn't dictating offense with the same level of playmaking brilliance that we're used to from him. And I think we can attribute a lot of that now that we see how he looks revitalized and healthy to that foot injury. I don't know if there's...
I think it's the foot injury, and I think he got in the lab this summer. I think it's both.
Yeah, I agree. But I wasn't sure exactly how much of a role that played, right? I didn't know if he could get back to this level. And now that he has, I don't know if there's a handful of guys who I would rather have than him in a single game do or die scenario, just because I know how dominant he can be dictating the game. We don't see LeBron running 15 pick and rolls a game anymore, but I do believe that if it came down to an elimination game, he could, and he could be absolutely masterful there. And you combine that with the jump shooting at this level, all the efficient stuff he's able to do off ball and in transition. I mean, this is like a terrifyingly good basketball player at almost 39 years old. It's unbelievable, and it is vital to the Lakers' ceiling this year.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead, Logan.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to mention just the defense too, man. When LeBron's been engaged defensively, he's been one of the best defensive players on the planet this season.
Yeah, he has always been an extremely gifted low man when he actually cares to do the job. Which again, as in terms of the actual distribution of his resources, makes sense to me. But there's been like 5 or 6 games this year, like that Suns game, where it's been the fourth quarter and it's like every time down the floor I'm getting a bucket or I'm setting a guy up for a wide open shot. Like where it's like that like top tier perimeter initiator half court surgeon thing. And that just was not there last year. And I think that is, it has, again, we framed this as MVP conversation. We're all on the same page that he's not going to win it, that he's not really all that high up on that list. But just the fact that he has been able to reach that level is more important than any trade, more important than anything else having to do with the Lakers this season.